welcome. Hi guys, this is Shubham Joshi from Reader Space, your host for this week's video. So this week's video is focusing on what makes a story great. Not good, great. So first, getting into the deep dive of our topic, I want to specify what is the reason why are we making this video and how this video impacts you. So the reason is, coming back to the story, what makes a story great? That's what's the question that we are going to find out in this video. But first of all, we have to know what makes a story. So a story is composed of three things. First is their characters, which we get introduced. Second is our plot, and third is the lure. Now, these three components are found in every story. Even if you check out the cinema, films, movies, dramas, theatrical compositions, books, fiction, even non-fiction, you find that these three components, plots, characters, and lure, are integral to make a story. And now, the most important part, they are integral to make a story, not a good, not a great, but a story. A story cannot be made without these three things. So, the plot. I define plot as a stream going down a valley. That is a natural course of actions that going to happen in our story. So, if you go out and read about it, the plot is divided into three acts. The act one is the introduction, where we get to introduce with all the characters which the writer wants us to introduce. Then there is a second act, which is basically there is the building of the inevitable conflict that our hero and the villain and everybody have to go through. And the third one is the climax, where everything gets resolved, the conflicts comes to us, and the characters have to deal with it. And then there is a resolution, what is positive, negative, anything that can happen. Now the great thing is about this, that this three act structure is a baseline, not very rigid thing. It changes, it molds. Sometimes there is only two acts, sometimes these three acts are subdivided into three acts, so that can happen. There is an 8 act structure, but I think this 3 act structure is quite generalized, so I shared that with you. So let's get through all the three one by one. First is character. What is a character? The character is the guys introduced to us, like the protagonist, the antagonist, the supporting guy, the girl which becomes the heroine. That's in the book or in the cinema. So that's it. But how that impacts our story? If a guy, like the character, the guy we have introduced in our story, has a deeply layered motivations behind his actions, he has reasons to do what he do, he has a justifiable good or bad characteristics because of his past experiences, which may the book not go through, but they will emphasize in some way. That makes a character more interesting. If you don't do that, if you just forget about it, you get a Bollywood masala movie. What they do, there's a good guy who's just good guy, and a bad guy who's just a bad guy, and a heroine with just a heroine. They have no clear motivation why the good guy is good, why he's doing the right thing now. Nobody gives the reason. But if you write great stories, or if you read great stories, if you see great cinema, there's a internal motivation written there. You have to find between the lines, and that makes it more engaging. The three things which makes a story, and one point which in the end I want to emphasize, that in these three structures, a great writer always emphasize on making one or two great, because all the three acts simultaneously cannot be made great. Every story has to focus on some aspect, like somebody has great plot lines, but they don't have the great characters. Some have great characters, but they don't focus on the lure. Some focus on character and the plot, but they forgot about the lure, and that's okay. Unless until you try to do all three together, then there is always happens a disaster. And if you go through any great movie, you will find that. So most of the things, all of the great stories have one or two, not all three focused upon. So thanks for visiting our video, guys, and you can check out the references in the link down below. Ciao. Is the lure. What is a lore is basically the surrounding the virtual field, what is the aesthetic of a book's world, because a book presents its own virtual world to us. Go through the Avengers movies. They are not real. I mean, there is no Hulk or um, Ant-Man I am seeing right now, or Iron Man, but they created a world which there is the structure, there are superheroes, there everything, and then they introduce our character like Captain Marvel or Captain America, Iron Man, and then there is a plot line, there is Thanos coming. So, but that all happening because they have a virtual world where that kind of stuff happens. Same, a great example is 1984, the book. In that is a very controlling government, utopian future is built, and then there is the characters, and then there's a plot line. So lore is the basic feeling that the world created inside where our character lives and our story is going to be told.